Hey guys, I just wanted to take the time and just deliver a few encouraging words and just talk about what we should do this year. So, as most of you know, I'm a junior in high school, and I'm just, I'm a normal kid, and I'm a normal person full of mistakes. But throughout this week and next week, we're all transitioning back into school, and this is a hard aspect of our lives, not only academically, but in our walks of faith. This is where the darkness usually starts to come into our lives and begins to overwhelm us and overpower us. We as a community in Christ and as a family, we've got to encourage and uplift each other. We have to be that light in the dark world that has become of our society. I know most of you are thinking, Shelby, how can I be a light in my school? I'm going to say this. It's not easy. It's really not. But it's simple. Matthew 5:14-16 explains it pretty well. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand. And it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that you may see good works and give glory to the Father who is in heaven. We are the light of our world today. And if we begin to let those around us affect the light that we are trying to shine, we're going to fail. Period. There's the end. If we let those around us who are negative and want nothing and have nothing to do with Christ affect us, we will fail. We can't try to rely on ourselves. We have got to rely on God. And we've got to rely on our friends and our family. And we've got to rely on our community of believers. We've got to lean on each other. Well, ways that we could do this is by the fruits of the Spirit. And if you grew up in the church, you have this memorized backwards and forwards and sideways, whatever way you could think. But have you really thought about what they say and what they mean? Let's break that down. First one's love. The world uses this word far too often. Trust me, I'm guilty of it too. But what does love truly mean? Christ describes what love truly is because Christ is love. But what are some ways we could show love to our community? And not just our community, but others who are around us who don't even know Christ. What about just showing love for one another? And that's a brotherly love. It doesn't have to be a romantical love. A romantical love is usually in high school a temporary thing. But if we show one another a brotherly love, then you're showing someone a love that they probably have never experienced. Out for one another in tough situations, loving someone more than yourself. Love is willing to lay down your life for others. You're probably thinking, Shelby, how in the world can I be willing to lay down my life for someone who completely harasses me, disrespects me, and humiliates me daily at school? Think about what you just said. Who else was harassed? Who else was humiliated? Who else was disrespected by us, yet laid down his life for you and me? Christ. We are meant to love like Christ loves us. Period. End of story. Well, what about joy? Most people commonly misconceive joy for happiness. Joy is eternal. Happiness is temporary. My phone makes me happy. That's temporary. My phone can be gone in a matter of minutes. Joy is eternal. Friends can give you joy. Faith can give you joy. Faith can give you joy that is bigger than mountains, and it's incredible. Joy is eternal. Joy is confidence in Christ. Joy is an everlasting work in our lives. Joy isn't circumstantial. Joy is the reaction to God's work in our lives. What about peace? How can we show peace? Well, peace just doesn't lie in the realm of school. Peace has to be everywhere in our lives. Peace is an unconditional thing. It's a drop it kind of thing. If you have a friend that's going through some drama and they pull you into it, drop it, let it go, forget it, forgive it, forever. If you don't have peace, then that's Satan's door into your life. Like, there's nothing else. And peace is just, having that peace is amazing. We've got to be peacemakers in this world and not drama makers. Well, what about patience? We've got to have the quality of forbearance and self-control to wait upon God's plan and His will in our lives. We are called upon to be patient, not only with God, but those who are all around us. It doesn't matter if you're in the community with them or if they disrespect you all the time. You've got to be patient with those around you. If there are those kids in class who are always talking, always asking for attention, don't give them the attention, but at least be patient with them, because maybe they've never had someone be patient with them and actually get to know them and to love them. If we aren't patient, then how can we as believers get to know the person and help them no matter how frustrating that situation is? Kindness. We have got to be kind, or we will push those around us away. To be kind is to have a common grace. To be kind to those who you believe don't deserve it. Goodness. None of us are good. Period. But we should be eligible to know what evil is and what is right and wrong. There is no good person in this world but a graced person. But there is a fine line of right and wrong. And we know that fine line. You just have to be able to recognize it when the time rises. Faithfulness. To fulfill faithfulness, we must stay true to our word, not only with people, but with God. We must be trustworthy and reliable. What good is it to try to bring a friend to Christ, yet you tell all of the others around you their business? There's nothing right about that. And yet, we've got to be faithful to God. That doesn't mean go around making promises that you think you can keep. Promises are very hard to make. And if you're not sure you can keep that promise, don't make it. And just because you keep that promise, it doesn't always mean that that's faithful. Instead of making promises, just tell that person that you're able to be trustworthy and a reliable person, and let them figure that out for themselves as well. But making a promise is a very dangerous situation. Well, what about gentleness? By definition, it's the sensitivity of disposition and kindness of behavior. We've got to be gentle with our words and our actions. It's okay to be real with someone and say, hey, this isn't right. This isn't what you need to be doing. But do it in a manner that you would want to have it done to you. Don't go around and put people down all the time about, hey, you're doing wrong. Sure, let them know that they're not doing the right thing, but don't make them feel like trash about it. Last and certainly not least, self-control. Self-control is something that pretty much sums up all of the fruits in one. Controlling our tongue, our actions, our outbursts, our anger, everything. Although it's hard, it's imperative for us to control ourselves and be eligible to make a difference in this world for Christ. So this school year, I challenge you and I challenge myself to venture out and get to know others that you see on a daily basis, yet you've never talked to. Maybe even adults. Spread the light of Jesus that we have in us. Don't let that fire burn out. Remember, we don't need camp. We don't need retreats. We don't need any of this. But we need Jesus Christ. That is the main point. But remember, when you feel all alone, that's exactly when God will use you in one of the biggest ways. You may not see it now, and you may not see it in a year, but you'll look back on your life, and maybe even not when you're older, and maybe when you pass away, you will see it, and you'll get to heaven, and you will see that one person that you talked to once and said, hey, how are you? Come to youth group with me. Anything that you possibly said. And that could change their worlds forever. So I encourage you to do that. And I'll be encouraging myself to do it too. I love you guys.